So the next thing we're going to do is see how we can add some more information into this batch cycle report template, including a sheet for alarm data as well as a chart that will trend some of the KPI values. So I'll open the template back up in the studio, and the first thing that I'll do here is add in a new sheet by making a copy of the template sheet. We'll call this one Alarms, and we'll move it to the right of template. Now I'll just get rid of some of the information here that no longer pertains to the data, since we're talking about alarms. And I'll also set some labels here for my alarm fields. Alarm ID, alarm state, end time, alarm message, tag name, and tag value on the alarm. I'll delete the additional columns I don't need anymore. I'll widen some of these out. And then I'll set some formatting here on the first two rows of these time fields. And actually, I think just the end time is going to be a timestamp there. So we'll paste special the formatting from the date time column over here. And then the next thing that I'll do is build a data group that's going to go onto this sheet. So I'll go to the Connect menu. I'll select the Alarm Database Connector. I'll do a raw values group, since with alarms we're not really talking about getting min, max, and average and summaries like that. You can't really do that with this kind of data, so we'll go with raw values. And then I'll add all of the columns in my alarm table, which match what I've put in the headers up there. And then on the time period tab, I'm going to sync this up to that DT variable that's controlling the time frame of the history data. So we'll use variable, DT0 date, time, end date, and end time. We want all samples between those times. I'll save the group. I'll call it alarms. And then I will add it into the alarms sheet in B10, inserted and full, just like the history group is on the template sheet. We'll shuffle that around. And now, once we have multiple sheets in the template, we have to define which sheet each connection is going to. So I'll just map all the previously configured connections back onto the template sheet. When there's only one sheet, you can use any sheet, but once you have multiple, each connection has to be mapped to a specific sheet. Okay, now I'll go back to the template sheet here and we'll add in a chart. So to do that, I'll stretch out an area here. I want to put the chart in at the top of the report. And then I'll open up XLReporter's chart wizard. And the chart wizard just lets you map a data set onto a chart object in the workbook, and you can select which type of chart you want to add. In this case, we're going to do a line chart. We'll call this one Mixer Trend. And then I'm going to just label these columns here with some different text, because in the chart engine, it's not going to want to do two columns with the same name in the chart. And then for the y-axis, I'll select the heading row and the first two rows of data. That will work with the data insertion to stretch the series once the data group is placed in the report. And this header row setting will just name the series after that top row that I pick, which is the column name. Now I'm going to set the x-axis to the date and time column the same way. And then I'm going to put the chart at the top of the template. And I like the legend above style, so I'll change that setting here in the chart options by right-clicking on it. And the final change that we're going to have to make before we run this, just have to click off the chart there. The final change we have to make is in the schedule designer. Now that there are multiple sheets, we just change the action that updates the report from updating the template sheet to updating the workbook, and thus updating all the sheets that have connections on them. And we can see in the final output that the trend chart that we added is included, and the alarm data is also collected for the exact time frame of the batch, just like the history.